Welcome to Employment Law This Week. I'm George Whipple. As we continue to grapple with the pandemic, many executives are foregoing pay or taking pay cuts as part of their company's COVID-19 response. We talked to Gretchen and Rina Fujii of Epstein, Becker, about how this is affecting current compensation packages and contracts and what changes we could see post-pandemic.
One of the significant changes with respect to executive pay is a reduction, sort of a voluntary reduction that executives are taking in terms of their base compensation. This is generally being done when the business is asking all employees to sort of make a sacrifice in terms of their compensation generally. So executives are participating basically to as a role model for the rest of the business and to be sort of equal with the rest of their employees.
Some companies that had already set bonus programs and incentive programs in place for 2020 have taken a wait and see approach while reserving the ability to make changes in future years. Other companies that had not yet set incentive bonus programs and incentive equity programs in place revised or deferred setting performance goals in light of the pandemic. The pandemic has obviously made it hard to benchmark operational financial goals. Additionally, companies have to take into account any executive compensation restrictions that are imposed by certain CARES Act loans. Companies that receive critical business, airline, or mid-sized business loans through the CARES Act are restricted in increasing the total compensation of executives or officers whose 2019 total compensation was more than 425,000. In addition, there are more restrictions placed by the CARES Act loans on officers and employees whose compensation is more than 3 million. Payment of severance and other benefits are also restricted by the CARES Act loan terms.
A lot of the changes for executive comp right now may actually conflict with executive contracts. One of the issues, one of the common provisions in executive contracts is a fixed base compensation, which can only be increased but not decreased. And so to the extent executives are reducing their compensation contractually in order to address the business's decision to reduce compensation across the board, executives are going to have to waive those very specific provisions. One thing that we might see more of are what we call force majeure clauses, which allows changes to be made or contracts even to be voided in the event of an unpredictable event such as the pandemic or natural disaster, something like that. These have not typically been included in executive contracts, but I think a lot of employers will be looking at that. That force majeure clause would be subject to some significant negotiation by the executive because it goes against their interest in terms of having certainty in compensation, especially if they're moving positions and taking another job.
Thank you, Gretchen and Rina, and thank you all for watching. Stay safe out there, and we'll see you next time.